Hello, everyone. This is Al Fadi, and hopefully you've been enjoying the most recent videos of this series talking about the Quran from different angles. Last time we talked about how God used our sister Hatun, who is a 5'2", to literally destroy this concept of perfect preservation of the Quran and exposing the different Qurans and so on and so forth. But today we're going to talk about yet another mighty man of God, Dr. Daniel Brubaker, who is 5'11", and also his work is definitely throwing basically a dagger into this concept of preservation of the Quran. With me here to continue our discussion is our dear brother, Dr. Jay Smith. Dr. Jay, welcome back.
Good on you. Thanks to have me.
So what is it about the 5'11" now, man of God?
Actually, it might be 5'10". I've just kind of guessed it was 5'11".
I just made him 5'11".
I'm 5'11".
Right,
I think he's just a little bit, let's say 5'10". So 5'2" and 5'10". Let's just take a the slide and let's take a look at him. So this is Dr. Dan Brubaker. Those of you who have seen him, you probably know him. Look at the book that's there on the right. That's the book that's done all the damage. But that's from research that he did for 10 years to get his PhD to begin with. And subsequently, since then, he has continued on. At the time he did his PhD in 2014, he had about 800 of these variants. Now he's up to 4,000 and still counting.
And I want to just say, I mean, people, we encourage you to buy this book, and you'll see that never once Dr. Brubaker ever attacked Islam or attacked Muslims. He's just sharing the findings of his research. For the life of me, Dr. J, I have no idea why Muslims took it the wrong way and went on attacking him since day one.
Oh, well, that's obvious. Come on, now stop and think through what you've just said. This has done so much damage, they have to attack it. There's no other recourse. They can't answer it. Alta Kulic has written a book trying to.
And that's the reason.
Just
they
full
cannot
of
respond to it.
They cannot really respond because it's visual. Let me just show you what I'm talking about. Now, he talks about 20 examples. Actually, there are 22 examples to be correct. What he's talking about are these: insertions, erasers, coverings, and tapings. Let me give you some pictures of what we're looking at. So here are insertions. If you look, you can see there's a word right above here. That's a word that's been inserted. You can see there's a word here that's been inserted above the line. If you look over on your side, just point to where the word has been inserted right there.
This one,
so these words are inserted at a later time. What else does he have? Well, he also has what we call our erasers. There's an erasing, there's an eraser, and there you see.
Right here, you can see an eraser.
It's obvious that they are censoring the text. They're standardizing the text. They're erasing something that was there earlier. And then you have erasers where they've written over top. So here you can see some letters that have been erased, and to the kaf, and the lam have been put, kul has been put over top. There you can see where they've erased it and they've written it in red.
Right. And here is a whole word was erased and replaced with the word yasjudun. You know, they bow down or they prostrate.
So these are erasers with written over top, so that's obvious censorship, and they're actually redoing the text. And here you see an entire line that has been erased and written, an entire sentence has been written over top. Here you can see they done it with a different color.
And it's very easy to spot, by the way. Look at the style of writing. Look at the style of writing. I mean, it's very easy.
You can see the undertext as well. So you can see what they did to erase. And there you can see another one in that example. And then these are probably the most damaging. And this is primarily mostly in the Husseini manuscript. You can see where they have covered. There's a covering. Look at this one here. There are 8 different coverings. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It looks like chicken scratches when it's left behind.
And right here, I mean, you cannot miss the fact that there are gaps as you jump from one word to the other.
What's left behind, in every case when they cover, what's left behind corresponds with the Hafs text, corresponds with the Quran that we have today. So this was all intentional. This is all censorship at its worst. Here they have coverings where they've written over a top. Here you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 coverings where they, in some cases, they've written over top. There you can see where they've written over top. There you can see where they've written over top. Here you can see a whole word that has been covered over there, and over to your end you can see a whole line that has been covered and then been written over top. And then what we call tapings. Now when you look at this one here, it looks like maybe it's been damaged. But when you look at the back side of that square, he knows there's no damage whatsoever. So that is censorship. And where the tape, here's a tape, there's a tape, there's a tape over on your side. You can see one at the very top. Those are tapings. When you tape like that, you're centering the text. That's like covering. It's very similar the same way. What is fascinating is when he introduced this in 2014, he gave him to 800 of these to me to debate Dr. Shabir Ali. Dr. Shabir Ali and I were going to do a debate on this very thing. And what was interesting at that time, he had no idea, he had no Shabir Ali had no idea what I was going to introduce. He had never heard of this before. What Dr. Shabir Ali did when he heard about these coverings and these tapings and these inserts, and he said, well, listen, I don't have to worry about this. When you look at the Quran today, you'll take these 19 verses. I'm sorry, you look at these set of verses and use these set of verses, you get the number 19. You look at these words with these words, you get the number 19. You look at this section of text with this section of text, you get the number 19, 19, 19, 19. Jay, it's a miracle of God. I don't care about these coverings. I don't care about these insertions. Don't waste my time with all these erasers. 19, prove to me now that it's not the word of God. So I went back and I asked him, okay, these set of words and this set of verses, which manuscript are you talking about?
Exactly.
There was no versification back in the 7th century when you're saying, in fact, none of these manuscripts have any verses. So what verses are you talking about? What order are you talking about? And these manuscripts don't even have the same order that you were talking about. This 19 doesn't exist. So what manuscript are you referring to? What Quran are you referring to? It took me 19 minutes to give this whole assertion.
What a coincidence. Right?
I measured. It was exactly 19 minutes. That's the miracle. I said, that's the miracle you've done. But it took him a long time to finally admit the manuscript or the Quran that he is talking about is the Hafs Quran, which was only really created in 796, the 8th century, but was only chosen as the official Quran in 1924 for Cairo and made official for the whole world by the Saudi Arabian government in 1985. Once he had admitted that, his entire debate fell through. That was in 2014, 8 years ago now. After that debate, it was so embarrassing to him that he had to finally write a 9-page rebuttal to me 2 weeks later and send it to me. He's never had to do that in any debate. Try to shut down all the anger that he was getting from all over the world. Because not only 700 people were at the debate itself, it has over 100,000 have watched the debate all over the world, and it's getting probably close to 200,000 now that have watched it. Muslims are absolutely upset because he could not support it. Well, how would you defend this? And what does this say to you? I'm now giving it to you. I put it out there. What does it say to you in the last 3 or 4 minutes? You try to tell me the significance of this.
I can go through a number of things that could be interpreted from all of this. First, the process of basically collecting the Quran was not a standardized process. Why? Because if they went back again to fix it, to make it coincide with a specific reading, that mean there was no standard reading in the first place, as we hear Hafs, 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 all that kind of stuff. Number two, it's obvious that memory failed, and you went back to fix things that were reliance on memory. How many times we've heard that the Quran, yesterday I was looked at a comment, the Quran has been preserved in memory for 1400 years. Thank God we are so blessed. Really?
Yeah.
Which one was fixed, Yeah,
which one was memorized?
And then why wouldn't you discover something like this immediately after you wrote it? Like as a scribe, you would expect someone else to review it after you. It's obvious that everybody wrote whatever they thought the Quran said. So what is the preservation and the perfect preservation now?
See, to me, this is much more damaging because this is the consonantal text. What we looked at the Qira'at and Ahruf, the Hatun Tashfa, is just dots and vowels that were put at a later date, 8th, 9th, and 10th century, up until 905. From 736 up to 905, 700 different Qurans by 700 different men who all had their way of putting those dots and vowels. That is understandable. This you cannot explain. You cannot slough this off and say, well, you had different men choosing different things. No, these are the original manuscripts. You don't get anything earlier than these. These start from 705. Well, the under text would be maybe the late 7th century. The Birmingham folios, I'm willing to go back to 568 to 645 if the carbon dating is correct. So that would be early 7th century, but that's just 2 folios. That's nothing to do with this because that has to do with Christian material. That has to do with Jewish material. This is the Quranic material that we're talking about that became the official Quran. By this time, when they're writing the Quran, and yet they make all these corrections. These are later corrections. These are later censorship. This is called standardization. You're trying to get the text so it is the same as the Hafs text that we use today, the official text that was used in the Ottoman period. The Hafs was the one that they chose, proving that this all came after the fact. And if it came after the fact, that means that men have done this, because men are the ones that erase. Men are the ones that insert.
Yeah, it's a product of man, right?
This is the men are are the ones that actually write over top. And you can saw in some of them, when you looked at them, you can see they were even done with different colors. If you, I just want to show you back. Look at the slide again. Let me look here. Look at, you can even see, here is one that is done in red. There's another one that's done in red.
And then this one was done at a later time. The style of writing is not even close to the ancient way of writing. So how did they know that this is what Muhammad says?
And what else is in that one? It has fatta, it has a fatta, and it also has a
diacritical marking and a dagger, of course.
Dagger aleph.
Yeah.
These did not exist in the 7th century. These did not even exist in the 8th century. So that is a much later erasing with, in this case, overwriting over top of it. So you can see in these cases, this is intentional. And when it's intentional, that means it's man-made. And when it's man-made, that means that eradicates any notion that this comes from God. That means any notion that this is eternal, and that erases any notion that not one word or one letter has been changed. These are consonantal changes. These predate the diacritical changes.
Amen. Thank you so much, brother. And hopefully everyone is enjoying all of this. Before we close, what are we expected to look at next
I want to
time?
look at the 63 fragments that the Muslims claim existed within the 1st century of Islam. And we're going to debunk every one of them.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, everyone. God bless. Thank you for watching this video. Be sure to like and subscribe to our channel, Sira International, and click on the bell so that you receive notifications whenever we publish a new video or go live. I would also like to appeal to you to consider becoming a Patreon patron by clicking the link right below. By doing so, you can give towards the production of these videos. There are also other options for you where you can give to our channel. I thank you from the bottom of my heart.